Hey, Dani K coming to you from Dani K Joel Wellness. Today's tip comes to you from a member that she was doing her crunches today, and she said that her neck was hurting. So I get that a lot. A lot of times, and she's like, "Am I doing it wrong?" Well, I have to see that, and make sure that you're not yanking on your head. So first off, you don't want to be yanking on your head, right? So as I was watching her, she was doing them correctly. So the most thing that people will find when if their neck is hurting is it's straining in the sense that it's weak. So basically your head, give or take, some people have fatter heads than others, I'm just kidding, but basically your head can weigh anywhere between 8 and 12 pounds. So when it's like holding up something, like kind of like in a slanted, back kind of way, direction, that's a lot of weight for your neck to, hold. So if your neck is weak, if you haven't done crunches in a while, if you haven't worked out in a while, certain muscles and assisting muscles and so forth are weak or weaker. That's most of the time the issue as to why the neck hurts. Because I'll see people doing crunches and they're not doing them incorrectly. Most of the people that I've seen, and of course that I train, and I make sure that they do the whole a couple different steps and I'll run through them in a couple of minutes on how to actually do a correct crunch with the whole head and neck. But when I'm looking at them and I see that they're doing it correctly, it's just the fact that they're not doing anything wrong. They're not doing anything that's going to hurt themselves. It's just basically the weight of their head with the weak neck muscles. And so as you do more and do other things to get your neck muscles stronger and and train your body as you're doing crunches, train that neck to get stronger with crunches or with shrugs or whatever, that will eliminate. So a couple of things that you can do to eliminate that neck strain, so to speak. It's just tired. Your neck muscles are weak from holding 8 to 12 pounds. So when you're back in that slanted motion, if you are not in fact yanking on your head, that definitely will cause you to hurt your neck. That is a bad hurt, right? So a lot of times people, you hear that you're supposed to have your fingertips lightly on the back of your head, and so that's a definite. But what I have found is instead of just lightly touching the back of your head, I tell people when they're back in that angle to press their fingertips against their head, not lock, not hold their head, but just press their fingertips against the head as if their hands are holding their head. So if you're back in that position, like I feel, my neck muscles are working. Like if I'm back in this position right here, my neck muscles are indeed working, straining, if you will. So if I press on the back of my head, I don't feel it because I'm holding, in a sense, my head. I'm not yanking, I'm not going to be yanking, and I'm not interlocking. I'm just basically, instead of lightly being there, I'm pressing so that my neck can actually rest in my hands. And now when I'm doing a crunch, I'm going to focus on a point on the ceiling. And I always tell people, make like, L loser, put the L between your chin and chest, or pretend like you have a small ball or an apple or an orange. Anything that you can imagine or vision or whatever, that your chin isn't touching your chest. This is a no-no. You don't want this because then you're going to be yanking on your head and it's going to hurt your neck in a bad way. So try this. Press your fingertips on the back of your head, and as you do a crunch, keep focus on the ceiling and pretend like you have that L or that apple or orange or whatever, and that should definitely eliminate that strain. I've heard other people say, press your tongue to the roof of your mouth. Well, I can't do that, count and breathe at the same time, because if I'm pressing my tongue to the roof of my mouth, how are you supposed to breathe? Right? How are you supposed to breathe when your tongue is pressed to the roof of your mouth? You can't breathe because you're supposed to exhale as you come up. So if my tongue is on the roof of my mouth, I'm going to end up whistling or talking like Donald Duck. You know what I mean? So I don't necessarily like that point. So what I have found, and I don't think I've ever heard any other trainer say this, because it's what I have found, and maybe other people have found it, I don't know, but what I have found to work is pressing, again, not locking, just pressing your fingertips to your head as you're doing that, and it gives your head that sense that something is, that it's being held, and then the neck muscles aren't strained. They're still being used secondarily, but not as much as if you're just lightly doing this and it's like pulling and straining, on the neck muscles. So press those fingertips against the back of your head. Do not interlock. Again, I repeat, do not interlock. Press the fingertips on the back of the head. Let the head rest in your hands. Keep the chin up. Look at the spot on the ceiling and crunch and exhale. So I do want to say, hey Charles, what's up Chuck? What up Chuck? Up Chuck, get it? And then Maggie, what's going on? So anybody else that's joined, anybody else have any issues, other issues that I can, forgot the word I wanted to use, but help you with it, whether it's crunches or not. That's mainly the thing with crunches that a lot of people complain about is their neck muscles hurting. That their neck muscles is hurting so much that their abs, they don't feel it in their abs. Am I doing it wrong? You're not doing it wrong. It's just that your neck muscles are so much weaker. Is that okay to say? Is weaker? So you're feeling that. So, and then people get worried, like, oh my God, am I hurting my neck? Oh my God, am I hurting my, so all that focus is going on right up in there, and then you're not focusing on your abs and actually really truly focusing and concentrating on that crunch, hitting that hard, with the crunch, right? So, that was kind of like a quick tip. Usually I'm long-winded, but no one has any other questions for me about crunches and necks and all that. So, some fun trick, try and push the tongue to the roof of your mouth and breathe out. And if through your mouth, not your nose, because that's easy to do. But press your tongue to the roof of your mouth and exhale and see if you can do that. If you can do that, video it and show me, because I can't do it. It's just not going to happen. So anyway, lights go out. Hey, Susan. I'm doing a live shot. Oh, she said, oh, snap. She said, I ain't coming back for that, Jack.
Throw me my keys?
Huh? Can you throw me my keys? Where's your keys at, girl? All right here. Check you out. Yeah. All right.
I'm going to bring in your money for Thursday.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. So she's joining my workshop, weigh-in workshop on Thursday. Anybody else joining that? Weigh-in workshop. There's a couple people that have already signed up and everything, so it's gonna be off the hizzy. I love it. Maggie, how to relax hip flexors with crunches? What kind of crunches are you doing that your hip flexors are engaging? Are you laying flat with your knees bent? Is that what you're doing? Trying to think. When I do, hey Tammy, Maggie, when I do crunches, me personally, I don't do anything. All my crunches are done with my abs flat. So if I do my knees bent, I'm gonna have to get on the floor and show you. Yes, okay. So I don't do those kinds of crunches. When I do crunches, if I can set that up. So when I do crunches, I'm going to get out of the shot a little bit. So basically I'm laying flat when I do crunches, and I squeeze my toes together as I'm crunching. So let me see if I can, now where'd Susan go? I need her. Ha, she could have held this up for me. Okay, so basically from what you can see, like I'll show you my toes, but I'm flat on the floor. I have my feet squeezed together. I always tell people, squeeze your feet together as if you have like a $100 bill there and somebody's trying to take it. So squeeze those feet together. That in itself engages the lower abs, right? So if they're not squeezed, they're a little bit not flexed. But as soon as I squeeze them, that flexes them, that engages them. So then I just crunch up. Instead of doing this bent knee thing, because then, yes, I can see where you kind of want those hip flexors kind of want to help and engage, right? So, and basically what I was saying with my shoes, with my toes, like, let me turn it this way. Can you see? So like they're open, I squeeze them together. So that, squeezing that together, laying out flat, and just crunching up is one of my best ab exercises that I personally like. I don't like the bent knee thing. I don't like where people do like, you know, the crunches when they're like crunching the lower and the upper together. Anything to me that bulges and bulges that lower part, that's how you're training. So it's going to be bulgy kind of. So I want my abs to be flat, so I train my abs to be flat. So in all my training that I do, my abs are flat. There's no bent knees. There's no, you know, except for when I'm, and it's not really technically that, when I'm on the decline bench, I don't do a sit-up. So my knees are, you know, my legs are wrapped in that bench, and I'm laying upside down basically, but I am just doing a crunch. I'm not doing a complete sit-up, because once you get past that crunch part, then it's hip flexors, lower back, legs, you know, everything else, momentum, you know, everything else trying to get it up there. So I basically, everything is flat when I'm on the ball, everything is flat and I'm crunching up. I'm making sure I want a flat belly, I'm training it flat. I don't want to bulge it up because I don't want it bulgy, right? So, Maggie, did that help? Thanks, I just tried it your way with you. It makes a difference. Awesome! Whoop, whoop. So, you know, I am, or I've been told, I'm the ab queen. I don't know. You know, that's my trademark. The abs, right? Anyway, so that was a great question, Maggie. Thank you very much for that. So I hope that kind of helped everybody with that. And the crunches, the neck, the hip flexors. You know, try that, doing it flat out like that, and see about the difference, and feel like, you know, lay there still with your feet apart. Boom, boom. Lay there still with your feet apart, and then press your feet together, and see if you don't feel that difference with the lower abs. Just, you know, that just that much more engaging. So you're utilizing everything, you know, at once, kind of multitasking, if you will. So so that was a great question. Thank you, Maggie. Thank y'all for joining. Thank you for all the likes and the loves and all that stuff. So as I was saying, like when Susan came in and she wanted her keys, she didn't want to be live. But Thursday, September 1st, I am doing I'm redoing my 6 weeks of my weekly weigh-in workshop. So it's $100 credit, $90 cash. I can do it live, just like this. So, you know, there's a link in the event, which is on Facebook. So you can Google or search on Facebook, Dani K. I think it's I think it's Dani K Weigh-In Workshop. So search that, and there's a link in there where you can, if you're not local, if you're California, Florida, or whatever, if you're even if you live in Eldersburg, you don't want to travel all the way here, you can still join in live, just like this, from you know, from your house. So you click that link, and as soon as I get the receipt that you paid for the workshop, I join you into the private group. It's a private group. I go live in the private group. Only people that have paid for the workshop get into that private group. And you get me live, and you get to ask the questions like Maggie just asked the question. You'll be interacting with us all, with the whole group. So whether you're local or whether you're not local, we can still hook you up with this workshop. It's 6 weeks, $90 cash, $100 credit. So look on Facebook for that. Dani K, D-A-N-I, letter K, weigh-in workshop. All right, so check into that, and if you need any more, want any more information on that, PM me, let me know, and I'll hook you up with that as well. So stay tuned, stay informed, stay motivated. Bye.